being monochrome. Days and nights will look the same. One color would only be known. Wouldn't it be a shame? That's not the one we're dreaming of, 'cause we don't dream in black and white. It's time to find it off. We are not only black or white. The trees would not be of green, rapeseed hills could not be seen. The oceans would lose their blue, red poppies and roses too. That's not the world we're dreaming of, 'cause we don't dream in black and white. It's time to finally hand it off. We are not only black or white. Parrots won't be dazzling, peacocks won't be that surprising. Tight dresses be flaming, our coral reef is already dying. That's not the world we're dreaming of, 'cause we don't dream in black and white. It's time to finally hand it off. We are not only black or white. That's not the world we're dreaming of, 'cause we don't dream in black and white. It's time to finally end it off. We are not only black or white. Da 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 da. Ooh. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Welcome, everybody.
Hello. Oh, go ahead.
My name is Sia, and we have...
I'm the other moderator for this program today.
Nice to see you all. Let me just introduce myself quickly, and then Nikhil takes over. My name is Sia. I'm originally from Austria in Europe, and I'm a musician, teach violin and piano. And I've got 3 teenagers. My sons are 16 and my daughter's 19. And I meditate since I'm 19, like my daughter's age. So I do this meditation, Sahaja Yoga meditation, since I'm 19. And yeah, I'm happy to share whatever I can share with you tonight.
Thank you. I am currently 17 and I am in high school at the moment. And I have been meditating since I was born, so for 17 years now.
Also good friends with Nikhil's mom, right?
Okay. So, for today, before we get started with the program, we want to do a little bit of a poll to see what you guys, the audience, what you want. So in Zoom, if you go to the poll button, which is next to the share screen, just click on that and just answer some of these questions. Mhm. So we'll give you a couple of minutes so everybody has a chance to put their answers in this poll.
Maybe we can see the next slide and just introduce the topic of today.
So while we are going ahead with the poll, so what Ms. Sia was saying, let's introduce a little bit more about what the program we are going to be conducting today is all about. Ms. Sia, go ahead.
Yeah, so it's about transition age. So what do you think this means, Nikhil, transition age?
So this transition age, which we will be talking about, is, I mean, in plain words, it's the teen life. So it's about the transition between childhood and adulthood. So it's that time period between that change, which we will be talking about today. This is a time which is very confusing for a lot of individuals, and it's actually something I'm going through right now. It's kind of a confusing period, and it's somewhat of a new experience because you're seeing things differently. You are experiencing a lot of different things that you didn't realize when you were younger. So that's all that we are going to be talking about today. And stress and anxiety is a part of this transition as well. So we will be covering that too.
Absolutely. And when you get older, you'll have different transitions in different ages too. So not just teenage life, right?
Yep.
Maybe we can watch the video by a great UNESCO BMW ambassador, Pranathi, who expresses what the challenges are.
Mm-hmm.
Teenage years can be a hard time for all of us. Our bodies start changing. We get so many more responsibilities both in and outside of school, and our emotions start taking control over us. We don't understand where we fit in, whether we can still act like kids or we should start acting like adults. We try so many things to figure out where we belong, and many of those things can get us in trouble. But remember, you are not alone. Around 1 billion other people across the world are also going through this. And it's just a phase. Nothing lasts forever, and this too will eventually end. If we listen to our inner voice, the one we know is telling us the right thing to do, then we all have the potential to emerge as strong, confident adults. So join us, UNESCO BMW, in our journey to empower youth and promote world peace. The more people work together, the bigger of an impact we can make. Thank you. Teenage years can be
Thank you for sharing that amazing video. It just gives us a little bit more idea of what we'll be talking about today. She is also another individual who's going through this transition period, and she was more so just explaining her own experience and like what her take on it is. So today during this program, we're going to be talking about the transition period and the stress and anxiety which comes along with it. But we'll also be talking about how to deal with these different problems which come up during this period with meditation. So how can we find joy? How can we create more joy in our life through meditation? How can we alleviate stress and anxiety through meditation as well? So that is the entire purpose of this program today. Before we start moving forward ahead with the meditation and everything, the poll just finished. So let's maybe take a second to look at the poll results and just look through this. Ms. Sia, please also look at this.
Yeah, I was just thrown out by my Wi-Fi going down, so I hope it's not going to happen again. So this looks great. So we'll definitely focus on this. And if you keep doing the course, just at this point, maybe a good moment to say as well, stick to the course and there will be individual help as well with any of the issues you're addressing in your search.
Hmm. And a lot of the things, especially for question one, like what are the expectations for the session? So, for instance, a lot of people were pulling in with helping in focus and concentration. That is something that we will be covering as well. So don't worry, we will get through a lot of these points in this poll.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for sharing with us.
So let's get started. Would you like to introduce the founder of our meditation, of Sahaja Yoga meditation, Nikhil?
Sure thing. So first, before we actually go into the meditation, first we wanted to show or like express a little bit more of the background of meditation. So this meditation that we do is, the name is Sahaja Yoga, and this meditation was founded by Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi. Her photo is on the top left of this slide. Sahaja Yoga started in 1970, and it has been just continuously been going on since that time until the present moment. She has traveled all over the world talking about how to achieve joy, how to clear ourselves, and really just stabilize ourselves and bring our attention to the center so we can just kind of move forward in our lives without having to deal with all like the stress and anxiety which comes with it.
Yeah, Shri Mataji's traveled around the world giving a lot of programs, and she has spoken about the self-realization process, which you probably saw on day 1 and repeated day 2, and we definitely do it today again. And this is what our subtle system looks like. So what does this really show us, Nikhil, all these lines and dots?
So this diagram over here is what Shri was talking about or has been talking about for so many years. And this chart is more so showing how we have these energy centers within our body and these channels which connect these energy centers together. So for instance, you can see that there's a left, a right, and a central line going up from the base of our spine. This just shows how the energy goes from the bottom, from the base of our spine, and goes up to the top of our head. And these different channels or lines and these different energy centers actually control different things in our lives. And today, specifically, we'll also be talking about the first chakra, which is the number 1 on the chart. Next to it says innocence. And this is the Mooladhara Chakra, which we'll be talking about later on.
Chakra means energy center. And what's very important to understand is that our subtle system, as you see it here, is a beautifully built system. But think of it like a microphone that is not connected. It's beautiful, it's all built, it's all done, but it's not connected. So what's going to happen in our meditation here is the connection by this energy rising and coming out on top of our head. And we will be able to feel it, because it's important to experience and not just to hear something, another theory, another lecture, right? So the emphasis is on the experience. And the beauty is that this connection, which you will feel, is going to give you what? Is going to give you peace, is going to give you calmness, as you all wrote you looking for in the poll. It's going to give you balance, but much more. It's like an infinite source of power. Nikhil, what would you say? What you receive through this connection?
So when we actually awaken this power or this kind of like a driving force which goes up these channels, it activates certain things. So for instance, for the Mooladhara Chakra at the very bottom, when this driving force goes through this first chakra, these chakras have these different qualities. And when this power goes through it, you start to feel them. So for instance, the first chakra over here, let's just give an example. So one of its properties is simplicity. As we grow up, our lives become ever so more complex. Our lives become, there's a lot more responsibility. We have to understand the things around us much more. But if we have this driving force within us and it's activated and it's moving up, you will see that a lot of the things that were previously complex, such as relationships or maybe even understanding politics or whatever else, it just sort of clicks. It becomes much more easier to understand. So that's just an example, but that's like, it helps us in our everyday lives, really. That's all it does. And that's everything that we need.
So this energy, which is called Kundalini, doesn't only give us all these beautiful qualities and open all these centers, right? But it's also like a path of evolution. So we're talking about transitional age, don't we? We talk about how we as human beings within our lifespan evolve, but also how we human beings, even from amoeba stage to today, evolve. So it's all about evolution, isn't it? And this journey that the Kundalini does, once again, goes through these steps of evolution. And one by one, they are going to be, those energy centers will be opened and supported, and things happen from inside. And I think we're going to come to this in a minute, right? Maybe let's have a look at the next slide, how things will change from inside. So first of all, what is meditation, Nikhil? What does it even mean?
So meditation, especially in Sahaja Yoga, it's more so of a technique where we're able to bring our attention inside. So what I mean by that is where we're able to give attention to ourselves. So we're able to not have constantly us thinking about something. So our mind always thinks. It always wants to think about how to solve something, or if there's a problem, how do we get over it? It's thinking about everything which is going on around us. So if I have maybe a meeting tomorrow, what did I do in my past, which I nowadays look back and realize maybe I shouldn't have done that. This constant thinking is too much. It makes us, how do I say this? It makes us too active. And what meditation does is that it cools us down.
So
Go ahead.
yeah, so the thoughts are really coming either from the past, right? Oh, I think about yesterday and what happened, very often connected to emotions. Or we're planning ahead, which we have to do a lot in studies, right? So if the thoughts are coming either from the future or the past, if I'm in the present tense, in the present moment, I can be thoughtless, right? But one question I have, Nikhil, do you think you can stop thoughts purposely, like with force from the mind?
It
Do you,
is very, very difficult, and I would say no. However, especially through meditation, it is possible because you're not focusing solely on yourself, and you're not focusing solely on the thoughts itself. Rather, you're just trying to cool yourself down. And when you relax and you just are happy in the present moment, you don't have these thoughts constantly bombarding your mind. So I would say
absolutely.
in that sense, no.
And the experience of this energy that rises will help us actually spontaneously to go into thoughtless awareness. That means it's not connected with any sort of strain, with any sort of force, any sort of control, but with more relaxation, in a relaxed state, in a very witnessed state, right?
Mhm.
To go effortlessly. Effortless is really the key word here too. To go effortless. So today we don't have to do anything, which is good news, right? We don't have to do something. We're just gonna let it happen and see if this really works. Let's all be scientists and see, does this really work? What we're talking about.
Mhm.
Let's have a look at the next slide, please. Oh, I love talking about that. If you don't mind, I start. Transitions don't have to be scary. You see all these, what are these, cocoons turning into butterflies. So we have so many changes, as you said, right, as a teenager, but there's nothing that we have to be worried about. Like Pranathi was saying, she feels sometimes that emotions are taking over, or it feels almost like you're not in control, again the word control, of your emotions, of your thoughts, and you're getting bombarded with all sorts of things that maybe are hormone driven or age driven or wherever it comes from. But the good news is we don't have to become victims of our own transition, which means the emotions that are suddenly popping up and the thoughts that are coming. The good news is we can dissolve, we can deal with them through the meditation, and they dissolve. That means we're not forcefully making changes, but just by going into meditation, just by feeling this connection, automatically our emotions will settle down, will give us peace. Our thoughts will settle down, give us peace, right? And they will not dominate us. So we don't have to become victims of our own emotions and thoughts. What would you say, Nikhil?
I would say, along with what you said, they don't. This change doesn't need to be scary. In fact, it's actually a very natural process. It's supposed to happen, and again, because it's a lot of people, because there's so many things changing, it can be a little bit scary. But just know that whatever is happening, whatever confusion or complexities come along, it's all part of this natural cycle. It's supposed to happen, and it's a very normal thing. However, through meditation, once again, it helps us not make this transition such a bad thing, and it actually make it a very easy and simple
So
change.
you're meditating since 17 years, since you're born. So can you give us maybe one example where you had this feeling that something overcomes you, or something comes from out of nowhere, maybe some thoughts, some crazy thoughts, some wishes, some emotions, and how did you in that moment deal with it with this Sahaja Yoga method?
So I would say for that one, a big part of that would be when I first entered my 11th grade in high school. And that's when I started noticing things start to change. I became a lot more stressed. I became a lot more anxious about anything. I became very anxious about just taking a test or seeing books in front of me for studying. And I had no idea why. I loved to study. I used to take tests and get 100 like all the previous years. So why is this 11th grade so different? And I had no idea. I talked to my parents, I talked to my friends, and I just wanted to figure out how do I get over this anxiety about tests? How do I get over this stress that I'm feeling so much from school? And I would say that the biggest thing came when I talked to my parents. They talked to me about meditation, especially, and they said that this stress and anxiety is very natural. It's a very normal thing. High school gets ever more difficult as we move through the grades, and college even more so. And my parents told me about meditation once again, and they emphasized that you've been doing it. You have all these tools to help you calm down, to become more attentive, but you just have to sit down and actually spend time meditating. So I remember my parents, they worked with me for weeks and even months where we would go meditate morning and evening. And throughout 11th grade, when we were moving through it, or when I was moving through it, I noticed that things became much easier. I wasn't as stressed about tests. I wasn't as stressed about projects. Time constraints for assignments didn't become a problem at all. I felt just calm throughout, and I was accepting things as they were coming. So what I
So
mean by
can you,
that,
sorry,
like
go ahead.
you just what I mean by the time constraint thing is that even though there's so many deadlines coming up, that does cause anxiety for a lot of people. You just have to accept that, okay, there's a deadline. Let me just finish my work today. Let me finish it tomorrow, and I'll be done. So kind of accept things as they come. Don't keep thinking ahead as well.
So definitely, when we meditate, we talked, which we're going to do in a minute, hopefully. Hopefully, um, we go into thoughtless awareness. You know, go beyond the mind. But can you think? Can you just that may be already a little bit advanced and hopping forward? But Nikhil, give us one example of a Sahaja Yoga technique that helps you. For example, say for example, it's night. You have an exam tomorrow. You can't sleep. You're completely agitated. You feel hot. You cannot stop your thoughts. Give us one technique That is a Sahaja Yoga technique that you can do, or maybe two, I can think of two, that you can do right here, right there, and it gives you a nice sleep and removes this worry.
I would say one that I actually have been using for months is simply an ice pack.
Ice
Ice
pack.
pack is a very cooling thing. It's cold, and if you put it on your liver, on the right side of your body,
Hmm.
right to the abdomen, just keep the ice pack there, and you'll just notice how the stress just melts away, how the anxiety just melts away again. Because it takes all the heat out of the body from this area, and it just helps you cool down. So I would actually do that for a lot of my major exams and state exams and all those.
That's a great example. And I do the same when I feel agitated at night, thinking about all sorts of worries. I put an ice pack on the liver, and the liver, because it's a central organ in our body that we used for thinking. But we get to that at a later stage. But just to give you a little bit of a taster, there are a lot of hand-on techniques, simple hand-on techniques that we're using with the elements to to calm us down or to give us more energy. Depends. So you're going to learn to understand yourself. You're going to learn, what do I need? Not everybody needs the same medicine. We're not going to give everybody Advil, right? And it doesn't fix everything. So everybody needs something else. Somebody might be more lethargic, needs to be picked up. Somebody might be overactive, he needs to be calmed down. But anyway, let's go to the next slide. But this is something we could definitely talk about maybe in the Q&A.
Actually, before we go on, someone posted in the chat how like
Yes.
again, that's just us being very anxious about something or us being too active. So
Mm.
back there would very, very much help that helps you go back to sleep.
That's a great question, Rajiv, and you're not alone. A lot of us have it. And if you stick with the course, you're going to learn what each center does. You're going to literally get to know yourself, and you're going to find those little techniques that you can do. Very important is, where's my attention? Where's my attention? We learn to observe our attention and place our attention on positive things, and that's, for example, another one which we can do. But waking up in the middle of the night, yes, we can. Let's talk about more in the Q&A about that. Should we do that?
Yeah, we'll get back to that question. There's a lot
Definitely.
of options.
How do I feel joy? Ha, love that slide. So, how do I feel joy? How do you feel joy, Nikki?
I
How
think
does it express?
I would say it's different for everybody. Some people feel joy when they go see a movie. Some people feel joy when they're with their family. Some even feel joy when they're studying. But I would say that a lot of people have different things that they get joy from. It's very dependent on what you like to do.
Well, but is that really joy then, or is it happiness? If it's
It's
dependent on something outside.
yeah, that would be more so happiness. Joy
So,
would
what's
be,
the difference between joy and happiness?
I think it's more so on how you feel it. It's happiness is something that it's actually quite difficult to explain.
Shri Mataji has actually given beautiful speeches about this very interesting topic of joy and happiness. And I was listening to one today where she's talking about happiness and unhappiness being like two sides of a coin, you either or. And it's a little bit, compared to joy, it's dependent. So I may, for example, be happy I got a good grade. Yay, I passed my exam. I'm ecstatic. And next minute, somebody I lose my purse and I'm suddenly unhappy. So whoop, I switch, you know. So this sort of happiness, unhappiness is not something steady, is it? It's not something that is just completely steady and always there. Maybe not always there, but it's dependent on something. So if we want to feel better, what do we do sometimes? If I don't feel very great today, what do I do? Some people take some ice cream. Others might go, what do? You go watch a movie, or but do you really, really afterwards feel completely joyful and happy, joyful and balanced?
I
That's a
would
question, right?
I would say that, like, for instance, if you go watch a movie with friends, it does give you happiness. However, it's a very temporary thing because when the next bad thing happens, again, you flop to the other side of unhappy.
Right. Right. That's what I thought. So how do we find this joy, this bubbling, this, is this something I can force? Again, can I force not to think? Can I force to feel joyful? Probably not, right? But, and now maybe you can see the next slide, because it also relates to our Mooladhara Chakra. So how does joy relate to the Mooladhara Chakra?
So joy relates to the Mooladhara Chakra because, like I was saying before, these chakras that we have different qualities. And for instance, you can see on the slide, it's talking about how some of the qualities is innocence, simplicity, and wisdom and joy. And the thing is that joy, like you were saying, is a very difficult thing to obtain. Happiness is a very temporary state. However, through meditation, if we're able to raise the power inside of us or the driving force, and we're able to get to this Mooladhara chakra, a lot of these problems just and obstacles that we face just vanish, and we're able to actually experience true joy or simplicity in our life. Like, for instance, like I was saying before as well, simplicity. People, as they grow up, things become more complex. And through complexity, there's a lot of confusion. However, through meditation, once we clear or activate this chakra, a lot of the things which were previously complex become much more easier to understand, or you find it's much more simpler to work with. And I would say it's kind of similar to joy. When you don't have obstacles constantly bombarding you in your life, and you're able to find ways to get over them, and not constantly have to be behind that gate of just negativity and hate, that's when you can actually start to enjoy your life, when you're able to enjoy every single day. And I would say that's more so of how joy can manifest.
The Mooladhara chakra, as you can see here on the chart, is underneath the Kundalini. And it is, as you said, no? Connected to quality of innocence. I think the best way to understand the Mooladhara chakra quality is how children are. And why are children, how can a child so sweetly enjoy simple things like a mud paddle, you know? Because, do you remember when we talked earlier on the earlier slide about thoughts coming from the future or the past? Kids are usually just in the present moment. They haven't yet developed so many thoughts about the future and the past. They haven't developed their ego and superego. So automatically they're in the present moment. But the good news here is, even though we are maybe teenagers or young adults, and maybe all sorts of things happened in our life, and maybe our innocence was compromised, and all sorts of things happen. The good news is this quality, this innocence, is indestructible. That means you will always have it, and you will always be able to return to this innocent state of a child. There's nothing that cannot be fixed and reverted. There's nothing that you can't fix. You should never think that something happened, it messes up your life forever. Not here. Everything can be worked out. Everything can be cleared, if I can say it that way. You can always get back that joy of guilt-free innocence and joy. And that's where it comes, because the joy is so closely connected to being in the present moment, right? The present moment, forget the past, don't think about the future. Simple as that. I think it's a good moment to start our meditation. What do you think, Nikhil, to actually feel what we're talking about?
I think so. That's a really good idea. So for this meditation, we'll be first focusing on the Mooladhara chakra that we were just talking about. And after that, we will be doing a more general, just bringing our attention up to the top of our head. So I want everyone to close their eyes. A little bit. I want everyone to close their eyes and just sit down. Keep both of your hands in your lap. And after that, we will be doing. Once your hands are in your lap and your eyes are closed, take your hands and place them on the ground. And keep your hands on the ground. When we sit down, we are trying to relax. We're trying not to think of anything. I want everyone to take deep breaths, hold it for just a couple of seconds, and let go. Breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Let's do this a couple of times. We can breathe in and we can breathe out. We can breathe in, and we can breathe out. While we're sitting down, try to also straighten your back. Straighten your back and keep on closing your eyes. When we keep both of our hands on the ground, this allows a lot of the heat or a lot of the obstacles in our Mooladhara Chakra to simply fade into the ground. Our hands act as somewhat of a port where all of the heat is able to travel out of our chakras, through our hands, and into the ground. We can breathe in, and we can breathe out. Keep on taking breaths and try not to think of anything. Try to be in the present moment. Don't think about future plans of what you're going to do tomorrow. And don't think about things from the past, about what you ate for breakfast yesterday or what you did yesterday. Try to focus your attention into the present moment, right now. Keep on keeping your eyes closed and straighten your back again. We can open our eyes and now take your left hand and put it on your lap. Keep your right hand still on the ground. And once again, close your eyes and straighten your back. We are now going to clear our left channel. This channel has to do with our emotions. These emotions can get very difficult as they can just fluctuate throughout our lives. But the whole point is to keep our emotions stable so that they don't constantly jump around where you're happy one moment, unhappy in another. We want to keep our emotions stable. Our right hand takes all of the heat and obstacles from our left channel and allows all of it to go into the ground. We can take a few more breaths. We can breathe in, hold it for a few seconds, and we can breathe out. We can breathe in, and we can breathe out. One more time. We can breathe in, and we can breathe out. Again, try not to think of anything. Try to keep your attention on what is going on right now. Even if you still keep thinking about the past or the future, try to just relax through breathing and let go. Let go of everything. We can take our right hand and put it on our lap. We can take our left hand and face your palm behind you and keep your hand up. You want to keep your right hand, the palm open, facing upwards. We can again close our eyes, straighten our back. Our left hand allows the heat from our right side, the side of action, and allows all of that heat to go out of our hands and into the air. The right side controls every action we do. It's the thing which makes us keep pushing forward, to keep on wanting to do more. But sometimes, taking a step back and not doing anything for just a little bit can help us relax and calm down. If we keep on trying to do more and more, we never have time to really slow down. We don't have time to stay in the moment. We only ever think of the future. Try not to think of anything. And let us take a few more breaths. Breathe in. Hold it for a few seconds. And breathe out. We can breathe in. And we can breathe out. One more time. We can breathe in. And we can breathe out. We can take our left hand and put it back in our lap. Now we'll be focusing on our central channel, which is in the middle of our body. Now, take both of your hands and raise both of your hands to the level of your heart. Close your eyes. The central channel has to do with the present moment. We don't think of the past or the future. We are simply living right now, right in this moment. Keep your palms open. Don't curl up any of your fingers. Keep your palms open and your fingers spread out. We'll take a few breaths. We can breathe in. And we can breathe out. We can breathe in. And we can breathe out. We can breathe in. And breathe out. One more time. Breathe in. And breathe out. Take both of your hands, place them back on your lap, and I want you to take your right hand and place it at the bottom of your spine. right underneath your stomach. And I want you to make kind of like a fist, or not a fist, but kind of like a cup in your hand. And I want you to raise it throughout the center of your body to the top of our head. Let's all raise our hand to the top of our head. And each time, before you go back down, keep your hand on the top of your head for a couple of seconds. Again. And keep your hand on the top of your head. One more time. And now keep your hand on the top of your head. Don't keep your hand in the exact center of your head, but try to keep it a little bit in the front. Take your hand down and keep it in your lap. Now I want everyone to keep both of their hands in their laps, palms facing upwards. Close your eyes and straighten your back. And I want everyone to simply be in the moment we are in. Try not to think of anything. And as we're sitting down, try to see if you can feel anything on the tips of your fingers. Do you feel hot, cold? Do you feel nothing, or even warm? Or do you feel cool? Try to see if you can feel anything on the tips of your fingers. And we'll sit down and let us be like this for just a couple of minutes and really try to see if you feel anything. Just one more minute. We can all open our eyes. If you felt anything on your hands, just make a mental note of it, and we'll be asking in the question and answers in just a little bit. But try to remember just if you felt anything. Okay. Now we will be starting the Q&A session. So questions and answers. And also if you have any feedback as well, just feel free to put them in the chat. We will answer all the questions that you put in the chat.
After the Q&A, stay with us. We'll have a more in-depth meditation and some live music. But for now, if you feel comfortable, write whatever you felt or any questions into the chat, and we can have a little bit of a feedback session. Did you feel a cool, maybe a warm breeze coming out of your head? Did your breathing slow down? Do you feel calmer Did some bubbles of joy come up? Let us know. Don't forget, this is the first time maybe, or maybe the third time if you're here for the third day, that you had your Kundalini energy risen. How shall I sit when my hands don't reach the ground while sitting cross-legged? Or what should I do with my hands? So sit cross-legged, your hands will reach the ground. But even if you're on the chair, you can just point the finger towards the ground. It's nice to have a connection to Mother Earth, because especially for this first energy center, the Mooladhara, it's a great way of clearing this center. Actually, the best way to clear the center is to sit directly in the grass on Mother Earth. It's a wonderful, wonderful way of clearing. So yeah, just either point towards the ground or touch the ground. How long has this meditation been practiced? I feel warm. Warm means, think of it that way. Warm means something's happening. So something's moving. There's a lot of stuff going on in us, right? And once this unwanted, you could say, is being pushed out, that creates heat. Any sort of work creates heat. If you clean, it creates heat. But eventually, it'll be cool. So give it some time. Give it some more practice, it'll get cool. But warm is a great sign that something's moving and shifting. And also, which hand is warmer and cooler already is an indication, right, Nikki? What my state is. Don't forget, we're learning here in this course that we are not going to be overwhelmed by emotions. We're not going to be dictated by thoughts. We go beyond and we become our own master. Very important, we become our own master. And the first thing is to realize which hand is warmer, which hand is cooler, gives an indication of our sides, right side, left side, which one I'm using too much. And we'll learn all these clearing techniques. Oh, by the way, to go back to Rajiv's question with getting up in the evening, in the middle of the night and being bombarded with anxieties or thoughts. This simple clearing technique of right side, if your thoughts don't stop, you can do that anytime in the day. Just go inside, bring your attention inside, and do this exercise to clear extra thoughts or the right towards the ground to balance your emotions.
Also, for the question on how long has meditation, Sahaja Yoga, been practiced, this meditation was founded in 1970, so that from 1970 until present day. So that would be 52 years at this point.
Do we have to use breathing? Breathing helps. The breathing is connected especially to our heart center, but it's not something that we overemphasize. It's not a breathing yoga. We use the breath because the thoughtless state is best between the breaths. So think of it, just what Nikhil did. He said, breathe in, hold the breath. In that moment will be most easy to become thoughtless, right? So that's how we use the breath. But it shouldn't become something unnatural. Like yesterday they spoke about breath too, where he said it shouldn't become something stressful, where it becomes unnatural. Your breath will automatically slow down. You don't have to overthink about your breath, but you can use the breath just to steady yourself. Does that answer your question? So no overthinking needed. Awesome. Connect with a pleasant memory. I love that. That's a good one.
For the question saying how often and how long is it good to meditate as we did today, and what's the best time? So the best times would be early in the morning, or if you can in the morning before you go to work, or before you have, or even after breakfast. Any time in the morning works, and in the evenings is best. So what I mean by in the evening is when you come home for dinner, before dinner or after dinner, any of those times work. Even during the day it works. If you are in the workplace and you just have a couple of minutes, just sit there and try to relax, try to think, or not even try to think, but try to be in the present moment. Try not to think of the past or the future. And the meditation doesn't need to be long. Like for instance, if you just have even a couple of minutes, that's all you really need. So 5 to 10 minutes, could be even 30 minutes, really however much time you have.
there's definitely no end to how long you can meditate. But sometimes you may even find that you meditate long, and it's not really quality. You haven't, maybe you've just been thinking the whole time. But even then, don't worry about it. Try with 5 to 10, I would say 10 at least, 10 in the morning, and you'll see an enormous difference. I would really recommend you stick with it, you do the course, see how it goes, just like a scientist, and see if you're able to, if you feel any improvement, because this has to be, again, an experience done by yourself. So give that time, do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 in the evening for starters, and see, am I more balanced in the day? Do negative attacks just bounce off easier? Do I feel less guilty? Is it easier to be forgiving? All these things will come spontaneously. But you got to give it those 10 minutes in the morning. Even if you don't remember anything, open your hands, bring your attention inside, raise your kundalini, just like how Nikhil showed so beautifully. Raise that kundalini. Don't forget, this kundalini energy knows everything about you. It's a loving energy, a motherly energy. So she anyway knows on which energy center to work on. Just gently raise it up. Remember, you are now have your self-realization. Bring your attention on top of your head and keep it there. Keep it there. Even in the daytime, something bothers you, somebody is mean to you, somebody scares you, bring your attention on top of your head. This is going to be your refuge inside, okay? Practice it, see how it goes, and come back to us. And we're going to guide you. These are free sessions. We're never going to charge money. We're all really eager to be here for you. We can do one-to-ones with you, and we guide you wherever you need individual help. But you got to try it. You got to try it in order for it to work, right?
Yeah, there was another question saying, I am not really feeling anything because I'm focusing on my back pain. Will it just take more time to feel something? So even with pains or even with distracting thoughts, even physical injuries, I think just through, or not even I think, but through practice in meditation, you will start to feel something. It's all about practice. If you didn't feel anything now, we'll have another meditation session where we'll, right after this, and try to see if you can feel anything. And even if then you still don't feel anything, it's just having to do meditation and keep practicing meditation over and over until you actually feel something.
Things like back pain, a physical pain, we're never going to say don't see a doctor, don't see help. Certain things have to be fixed like that. If the back pain disturbs you so much, do some exercise, go to see if you have physical therapy that eases it off, because it can distract your attention. But also if you work on your chakra level, all physical pains will ease. They will ease because they have their root again on the chakra level. But just want to say quickly in the chat, we had once again a mention about waking up in the night. For all you who are waking up in the night and have sleeping difficulties, do the ice pack. And as Zore said very nicely, we do a foot soak. Now, foot soak is a technique where you use a plastic bowl, and especially if you're a very overactive person, keep it on the cool side with the water. That plastic bowl you only use for your foot soak. Don't use it for washing or anything else, right? Think of it, this is like your mini ocean to clear. You put water in and you put a handful of salt. So you've got the element water and you've got the element earth. Soak your feet 10 minutes in the evening. If you're really hyperactive, even in the morning, rinse with fresh water and chuck into the toilet. Rinse the bowl. So that you try that, I promise you, your sleep is going to be so much better. Because why? The element earth and element water suck out all these anxieties, all these negativities, anything that bothered you, anything that you absorbed in the day, any heat. It just takes, especially for the first 3 energy centers, it's extremely clearing. And the first 3 energy centers evolve around the liver and it have very much to do with your attention and with your thinking. So that's going to be a fantastic thing. Do this every night, and at the end of the course, see how you feel and make a comparison.
And also,
homework.
and for the one part on which side is the reason for like not being able to sleep during the night, that's going to be your right side. When there's too much pressure, when there's too much stress or anxiety, that's all the right side. And that's going to make you wake up. It's going to make you feel stressed throughout the night and you can't sleep. So foot actually helps to clear and cool down the right side. So you're able to slow down.
Yeah, and we will cover that tomorrow, the foot soak. So come tomorrow to the class. Do we have any more questions, or shall we do a little bit of meditation to live music?
There was one more question. The question was, I was able to be in the present moment, even though I had many distracting thoughts. So, Ms. Sia, would you want to answer that one?
Well, I think that's good news, no? That's you're in the present moment and you had distracting thoughts. The thoughts come in. If the thoughts bother you a lot, watch the thoughts. The moment you watch thoughts, they get cancelled out. So don't force anything. Of course, you can say, not now, not now, but watch the thoughts. So when you close your eyes, with those inner eyes, you watch the thoughts and they'll cancel out. But again, this is practice. You keep coming to the classes, you keep talking to us, you keep meditating on your own, and it'll get better and better and better. And you have greater and greater experiences. You may feel this Kundalini rising. You may feel the coolness over your head. You may feel the cool blowing like a fan on your hands. So keep practicing.
So even if we are in meditation and you are able to focus on the present moment, a lot of these thoughts kind of just come out of nowhere. They will enter your mind and they'll just pop up. However, through meditation, we're trying to push them back out. So the entire point is that if they do just suddenly pop up in the mind, it's our job to push them back out immediately. So this allows us to calm down. But if the thoughts are able to come into the mind and stay there, that is not what we're trying to do in the meditation. That constantly makes us think, and that doesn't allow us to calm down.
But don't forget, it's all effortlessly. So the moment you have your attention on the Kundalini, they will stop automatically. You can't control the mind with the mind. It's impossible. It's just not possible. So just let it happen. Yeah, we have Gautam said you are invited to see the YouTube that's in the chat. Prepare yourself for the session tomorrow. And if you're okay with it, I'd love to play a little bit of violin before everyone drops off. And again, music is a great carrier of helping you go thoughtless because it's without words. Well, it can be with words, but music is an art, a beautiful painting, or going into the nature are fantastic ways of going thoughtless. And you will feel from some very connected artists, say Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, you can literally feel this cool breeze coming from their art. And you may look at it and go thoughtless. Or you may hear a Mozart and a Handel and go thoughtless. So these are ways that can help us, what sort of music we listen to. That can also help us to go thoughtless. So why don't we try? Should we try a little meditation and then let you go?
Yes.
How about that?
So again, everyone, can you please sit down and keep both of your hands again, palms facing up on your lap. And everybody, if you can, straighten your back and close your eyes. And again, do exactly as we did before. Try to stay in the present moment.
Just testing if you hear what I hear.
Yep.
If they're birds, then that's a good sign.
You can hear them.
We can hear the birds. Awesome. Let's enjoy the birds. Let's close eyes. Bring our attention on top of our head. Let's see if we feel this cool breeze once again over our head. Let's bring it right up there. Is it cool? Sometimes it's further away, right? It's all the way up. You can stretch your arm and see it might be as far as your hand stretches, your arm stretches.
So let's all take our right hand and put it on top of our head to the front. And you can move your hand up and down a little bit to see if you can feel anything. Move it up and down until you start to feel something. We can put our right hand down, and now put your left hand on the top of your head as well. And see if you can feel anything on the palm of your hand. Take your hand down and try to remember or take a mental note if you felt anything this time on the palms of your hands. And go ahead and put it in the chat if you felt anything.
So if you feel warm, Anapama, is it right or left, or is it both? Both. We can do the clearing again, Anupama. You can do the clearing again with left to the sky and right on the palm. You can do that individually and see if you, and wait until your right hand goes cooler. And then you place the right hand on the ground, left hand on your palm, and see if the left hand gets cooler. Try that. And also continue trying that maybe after the class or tomorrow morning. It's gonna get cooler for sure. Warm right. Warm right. So whatever hand is warm has to be the one open on the lap. And for the right, it would be left to the sky. And for the left open hand, it would be right towards the earth. Like a small fan on top of my head. Awesome. That's great. Now don't get discouraged if you don't feel it cool yet. Warm, as I said, is a sign that something's working. Something's working, something's moving. This is the first time you try. So keep meditating. And tomorrow when you do the foot soak, again, that might be a game changer. So come again.
And even if you don't feel anything, that's nothing to be discouraged of. A lot of people, first time in their meditation, don't feel anything. And even then, most people actually feel warm. And all that means is, again, more meditation. You have to keep on practicing. You have to keep on meditating. And for some people, it's not so easy. And for others, it may be a little bit easier to feel something. But really, all it is that you have to balance your left and right side. So like we said before, right hand towards the Mother Earth like this, and then keep your left hand in your lap to clear your left side, and then keep your right hand on your lap and left side, and your left hand towards the air. And if you clear both of your channels, you will start to feel something. But again, this is through practice. You have to keep doing meditation. And
sometimes the sensation on the hands is also related to the fifth energy center. So it may be that all is there, everything's there, but you just can't feel it that well in the hands because the hands are a little bit blocked through the fifth center. So you can take your right hand and give some energy to the fifth center. Try that. But I would also encourage, I don't know if we do breakout rooms, a lot of these things can be dealt with in a one-to-one as well. We can give you individual help to really, really feel cool. I don't know if you have enough people. It's cold in my house, but my hands got a little warm. It's gonna get there. It's gonna get there, but we should help you feel cool. So do we have enough people to maybe take some people in a breakout room and do more in-depth meditation till they feel cool?
Yeah, we're just checking. So all those who are Sahaja Yoga practitioners, if they can just send me one-to-one message, this is Gautam, then we can see who all are there.
But again, if you don't feel extremely cool, I'm, for example, a person who doesn't feel that much on the hands, but I feel it more on my body. And I feel joyful. You can literally feel it buzzing or bubbling, or sometimes I may feel it feels like a shower that goes upwards, like a gush of joy. So all these are signs that this Kundalini is working. You know, it's not only the hands. Oh yeah, heavy in the head, classic. So when the Kundalini rises, very often it gets stuck here, because this is the most narrow part for the Kundalini to go through. We will cover that in future as well when we come to the sixth center in the course. But just place your right hand on your forehead. That's one way, and we will help you with affirmations when we get to it, maybe in the one-to-one breakout room. But for now, take your right hand on the forehead. If you feel this pressure in the head, let the head sink into the right hand. It's also connected to forgiving, a simple way of clearing the centers, just to say, I forgive, I forgive, I forgive, just to let go. Do this for a few minutes and then check again. Do that, Rajiv. See how it goes. I forgive. That also helps with the thoughts, by the way. Again, if you wake up in the middle of the night, bombarded with thoughts, that's yet another thing you can do. Right hand on the forehead. I forgive. I forgive everyone, also myself. I forgive. I forgive. We're not really doing anything, we're just letting go. You may feel it gets lighter and lighter. And then try again. Top of your head, is it cooler now? What a great group of people. What great questions, great feedback. Come again tomorrow. I think we reached the end for today. But again, I'm going to be here till the last man standing. So if anyone wants any more help, I'm here for a breakout room. Whoever needs some help, I'm here. Maybe we can have more breakout rooms. There's quite a few people here, right? Shall we raise our hand if we're available for a breakout room? How shall we end this? Have a good day too, Paris.
Thank you for coming.
So I'm up for a breakout room. So if anyone would like, maybe you can move me to a breakout room. Otherwise, thanks for coming, right? And thanks for staying so long. Went quite long. Yeah, do the foot soak. Yes, and let us know how it goes. Absolutely.
Thank
Hope
you.
you sleep well.
So for those who are interested, I would say be in the main room and unmute yourself and ask question or discuss something if you want, because we not have that many Sahajogis to support the breakout room.
Sure, let's do that. Okay,
Yep.
Otherwise, have a good night. And join again tomorrow. Seems everyone's happy. So shall we just wrap it up?